Hello, and welcome to a brand new day of free-to-play here on Magic the Gathering Arena. Get the dish on the latest with me, Lord Rumfish. So, if you've been following this channel since I started it, in one of my very first episodes, I introduced some basic beginner decks that I'd been kind of using and changing over time ever since I started this new account. I've got an older account and I've got a newer account. This one, I don't have quite as many wild cards or as deep of a collection from older sets that I've played. And this same deck, High Ambitions, I introduced in a, not exactly this configuration, but something approximating it. I've got some quests I need to do today. I've got some wins I need to pick up. The Mastery Pass is about to roll over. And my quest is for green, and this is the deck I want to play. I'm going to take you through a quick deck tech here. So there are three removal spells for creatures at the lower end of the curve. There's Tail Swipe. I like this one because it's an instant. People really don't expect you to pull out an instant speed removal spell in a green deck. Tail Swipe's pretty good for that. It's also just 1 mana. Tyvar Stand is a cool trick too. It can win the game from out of nowhere. There's Bite Down, also an instant. This one's not a fight. It just deals damage equal to your creature's power to another creature or planeswalker you don't control. Same for Master's Rebuke. Master's Rebuke is a functional reprint of Bite Down. But since the cards have different names, if the opponent did something like play Katose, the Silent Spider, or Stone Brain, and they went after this card, they'd only hit the one. That's one of the fun things you get to do with functional reprints, is protection through redundancy. You may have heard me say it before on this channel. Today I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, actually give you some gameplay here. Azusa's Mini Journeys is really the card that holds the ramp deck together. I know you don't see anyone playing ramp on ladder, but that doesn't mean that they can't. I think people are just kind of building it the wrong way. People are trying too hard to, value card draw or aggression or something. What you really need is to remove the opponent's things off the board, like with artifact enchantment removal, to gain life, and to keep pulling more creatures out of your deck, and to keep ramping. So this card ramps you a land drop, you gain 3 life. The gain 3 life is incredibly relevant. And then on Chapter 3 you get a 3/3. Sometimes a 3/3 can even untap lands for you. It doesn't come up all the time, but it's more text on the card that you can put to use. If you think you will be able to use the mana from the likeness getting blocked, put a stop on the declare blocker step. Because otherwise, if you don't have lands to untap, the game will skip right past it. But if you put a stop there, you can tap the land in response and then she can untap them. There's a 1 of Cankerbloom here. More would probably be fine, but a lot of our creatures at the upper end of the spectrum are going to deal with artifacts and enchantments for us, as you will soon see. So, we just need a few early turn plays here. Azusa's Mini Journeys is the big one. Cankerbloom's not bad either. Shigeki. If you get Shigeki in the early game, just go ahead and play him. It's very tempting to hold Shigeki until later in the game when you know that Shigeki is going to give you good value. But if you just are looking for things to do in the early part of the game, yeah, it sucks if he gets hit by a removal spell or whatever, but you gotta hit your land drops and you gotta interact with the board to some extent. The opponent does not always have something. Sometimes you get Shigeki down, bounce him back to your hand, he puts a land out for you, chump blocks something that, never damages you or him. It works a lot more often than you'd think. And obviously, late game, the channel ability is incredibly powerful. Does not work on legendary things, though. Reckoner Bankbuster, this is, along with Azusa's Mini Journeys, this is part of the glue, holds the deck together. When you're producing so much mana, you're going to be able to play out these Bankbusters and activate them and just keep rolling through the cards in your deck faster and faster. It's one of the benefits of a ramp strategy. It's all the mana production, things like this, you can take advantage of it. You can also make quite a nice attacker or blocker. I probably don't have to sell you on this card. Bloated Contaminator, this is a recent addition. There's a number of things to proliferate in this deck. This deck doesn't care about poison at all. But you can proliferate the counters on the Reckoner Bankbuster, you can proliferate the counters on sagas. This is a saga. We got a saga over here. And we can proliferate counters onto Nissa. We could even proliferate counters onto Blast Zone. So there are uses for the proliferate here, and just putting down a chunk of beef that's like a 4/4 for 3. It's a pretty good roadblock. It's kind of, you know, a nice stabilizing force early in the game. Sometimes you need a presence on the battlefield. Jewel Thief might be even better than Bloated Contaminator here, but Jewel Thief dies to some types of removal that the Contaminator does not. Jewel Thief ramps you, though. You get a treasure. And this guy has Vigilance and Trample. The Vigilance comes up all the time. There are so many times that you can just take a safe attack with the Jewel Thief, because all they've got is like a human token from, you know, a wedding announcement, or, you know, a Phyrexian Might or something like that. There are lots of times where the opponent is tapped to attack you, and you get a free attack back with the Jewel Thief. Obviously, measures up pretty well against, you know, Wandering Emperor. Jugan defends the temple. I'm testing this one out. So I keep iterating on this deck all the time. Right, as I find new, you know, rares and mythics and things, I'll try them out in the deck, see if they actually improve it. So, this one copy of Jugan Defends the Temple is replacing a copy of the Weatherseed Treaty. I used to have 2. This one makes a 1/1 that taps for mana, puts a +1 counter on each of 2 target creatures, and then it flips into a 2/2 flyer, which, if any creature enters the battlefield under your control, you can pay X and put X +1/+1 counters on it. Then there's some text about if you have 5 or more modified creatures. That part doesn't matter. It could happen in theory, but the important bit is that this is kind of like a green Fable of the Mirror Breaker, right? It puts down a creature that generates mana on Chapter 1, gives you some kind of value on Chapter 2. On Chapter 3, you get a 2/2 enchantment creature that can take over the game if it's not dealt with. It's much like Fable of the Mirror Breaker. It just does it differently. The Weatherseed Treaty straight up ramps you. On Chapter 1, Chapter 2 you get a Saproling, can be a nice chump blocker. Chapter 3, in this deck, Domain is just for a forest. But giving something Trample can sometimes win the game. I have played it this way in this deck before. Giving like a Cleanup Crew Trample, giving one of Nissa's tokens Trample, giving a giant Branch of Boseiju Trample. So the +1/+1 doesn't matter that much, but the Trample sometimes does. Other times you don't need the 3rd chapter, and that's okay too. The Celestus, just a rock-solid card, ramps you mana, can gain you life and filter through your deck as Day-Night flips, and you can force Day-Night to flip. If you've never seen the Celestus in play, it's a great card. So, Boseiju reaches Skyward. I got 2 copies of this. Chapter 1 finds you 2 forests, puts them in your hand. It's very nice to play this on a turn where you don't have your land drop already. That's a good bit of value, is just to play this and then you get your land drop for the turn. Also, just finding 2 forests helps get you towards your end game, gets you where you need to go. Sometimes, you know, you might discard it to an opponent's effect. That's just a very handy ability. It can regrow a land card on Chapter 2. I'm not taking full advantage of that in this deck. Things it could fetch back include Roadside Reliquary, Field of Ruin and Blast Zone, or Boseiju, who endures. which is not nothing. That's more than 0 interaction with Chapter 2. But it's okay if you play this card and Chapter 2 does nothing. That's fine. It's a May ability because you put up to 1 target land on top of your library, so you don't have to. And then it flips into a Wrenn and 7 token. In a lot of ways, this is like a mini Wrenn and 7. Right? It comes down at 4 mana, finds you a bunch of lands, maybe it regrows a land out of your graveyard, and then it turns into a giant reach creature, power and toughness equal to your lands. Not as good as Wrenn and 7, except it costs 4 mana instead of 5, and I think that's noteworthy. It's an important difference. Also, your opponent can't shock this and kill it. They have to use enchantment removal. Blossom Prancer. Since 8 o'clock day 1, this has been one of the key cards of this deck. So it's a 4/4 reach. When it ETBs, look at the top 5 cards, reveal a creature or enchantment from among them, put it into your hand. I believe I'm running 9 enchantments in this deck, and 16 creatures. And overall, that is a good number of hits. Right, that's like 25 hits in the deck. Look at the top 5. It's very unusual for this card to whiff, and sometimes, occasionally, you can choose to whiff, right? You may reveal a card from among them. You can choose not to gain 4 life. Or if you whiff, you gain 4 life. Usually you want to get the card, but every once in a while, if you're up against aggro and you're needing to stabilize, you'll gain the 4. And that's fine too. Kura, the Boundless Sky. So I've been starting to test this everywhere since I did the green crafting guide. It's a 4/4 flying Death Touch. So great blocker. Not the worst attacker. When it dies, you can either search for up to 3 land cards, which don't have to be basics. So you can fetch some of these sneaky lands over here. Or you get an XX Green Spirit creature token, where X is the number of lands you control. So in a ramp deck, it's going to be gigantic. It's going to be a really big spirit token. So this can either be, a big presence on the battlefield that when it dies leaves another big presence on the battlefield, or you can let it die and fetch up, like artifact enchantment removal, sort of a point defense board sweeper, and maybe a creature factory or card draw, or getting rid of an opponent's annoying land. That's neat stuff. 4/4 Flying Death Toucher is already a pretty decent card. A lot of the removal in the format is not exile right now, so I think Kura's going to be pretty good. 3 copies of Cleanup Crew. It was 4 right up until recently. This card is great. I don't know what else to tell you. It's a 6/6 for 6. When it ETBs, you can destroy an artifact, or destroy an enchantment, or exile a card from a graveyard, which comes up. It does come up. It's a little niche, but it comes up. Or you can gain 4 life. And, if there's no artifact or enchantment to blow up, no cards in their graveyard that they can get back right away or that look dangerous, you can just play it in game 4. Against aggro, that's often what you do. You play Blossom Prancer into Cleanup Crew, and that starts to put away the game. Unless they find a way to punch through. 2 Titan of Industry, I probably don't have to explain. It's just so good. 7/7, Reach, Trample, makes 2 of these when it ETBs. Destroy an artifact or enchantment, gain 5 life, make a 4/4 green rhino, or put a shield counter on a creature you control. Of these, I think the shield counter is the one I use the least. Some people love the shield counter. Some people just absolutely adore the shield counter with the Titan of Industry. And there are times when it's the right choice, and you might be able to lock your opponent out of the game, right? They're tapped out. You're pretty sure their removal is destruction-based. You've seen, maybe some depopulates or something from them. Sure, go for the shield counter. The rest of the time I like to affect the board. I like to blow up their artifacts and enchantments. I like to make a 4/4 Rhino. If I'm behind on life by enough, I'll gain 5 life. And make the Rhino. Or, you know, if they have a really problematic artifact or enchantment, I'll make sure I destroy it. Anyway, Titan's great. You know who else is great? Nissa, Ascended Animist. So I've got 2 copies here. Thinking about trying more, we'll see. Because I have opened more at this point. So, 7 loyalty. She can be 7 mana. She could also be less, right? She's completed, so you can pay the Phyrexian mana on each one of those. You pay costs 2 life, and she has 2 less loyalty. So she could be 3 loyalty for 5 mana and 4 life. Or 5 loyalty for 6 mana and 2 life. Or you could play her, you know, full-sized. If you play her full-sized, she could do her big overrun effect immediately. Just plussing Nissa, making these big creatures that keep adding to her loyalty. I find there are a lot of opponents who are just not prepared to deal with that. Just plussing her. Plus, 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 and then minus when you have sufficient power and toughness. Her -1 is also great. I've got a sub-theme throughout the deck of destroying artifacts and enchantments, right? There's the Titan, there's the cleanup crew, there's the Cankerbloom down here. Boseiju. Nissa does it as well. You know, artifacts and enchantments have been running roughshod over this format. It may about to be battles here soon, but we'll see. For now, I think Nissa is amazing, and you should be seeing a lot more of her than you are. I got a 1/0 Cityscape Leveler, so this is just blow up anything. Get an 8/8 Trampler. Can also unearth it out of the graveyard. Great card. Great card, nice to have. Wouldn't maybe mind having more of them. I don't own more of them on this account yet. I've also got a portal to Phyrexia. If you followed me on the colorless crafting guide, you know, I recommended for, you know, big top-end ramp decks, things like that, try out a portal. Well, I got one here. And this one, players sometimes don't see coming from a green deck. It's just, oh, you're going to sweep my board and start reanimating things? I didn't expect that. In the mana base, we've got 22 green sources. Boseiju can deal with artifacts, enchantments, and non-basics. Blast Zone can deal with almost anything if you have the time and the mana. Field of Ruin can help blow up something annoying of the opponent's land. And you can also do a basics check. If you think they have a really greedy mana base, just see if they don't have any basics and Stone Rain them. Mirrex is an endless source of creatures at instant speed. And Roadside Reliquary could draw 2 cards. There are both artifacts and enchantments in the deck. So, that's the deck tech. Let's play some games. Okay, we're up against Jin Wins. Go first? Sure. Bankbuster. Opponents played black, red. White, black? Are they Mardu? Oh, there's something funky. One with the multiverse. Okay, so they're like a reanimator. Which, enchantment artifact removal should be pretty good against that. They can regrow them. But, it doesn't matter that much. Okay, here we go. Land, Azusa's Mini Journeys. Another land. Draw a card. Sega. Fable. Okay. Field of Ruin. If I activated it, I would have 4 mana left over. So I don't think I'm going to do that. I do think I'm going to draw a card here, though. Get to 5 mana. And... I'll play Kura. Yeah, I'll play Kura. Alright, discard. So yeah, they're a Reanimator deck. They could probably do the thing. Well, not if they spend their mana like that. Okay, we'll just kill that. Get another creature. Let's see, I could Blossom Prancer Cankerbloom, but that wouldn't leave me any mana open. If I don't want to leave mana open, I might as well Titan of Industry. Or Nissa. I think I'm gonna Titan here. Blow up the thing, make a Rhino. I'll go ahead and blow up that Fable. And I might as well come in with the Bankbuster. Oh, yeah, Pilot's not a very good blocker. Here. And yeah, let's start pressuring that life total. Yeah, take your block. They're probably gonna cast, like, Portal to Phyrexia, that kind of thing, when they get their one with the multiverse. And if they're running Invoke Justice, they'll put some +1 counters on their creatures. They'll make them, like, harder to block and stuff. This is a bad attack. Okay, depopulate. Sure. We'll just go big. Doing the mutt just for the draw discard. It is another mutt that they discard. So yeah, Depopulate hasn't really set me back much here. Go ahead and play this Mirrex. Oh, I guess I should play Nissa. I suppose that's what I ought to be doing here.
I will protect you, Phyrexia, until the invasion begins.
Snake Nade 8.
Welcome, my companion.
Crew up. Come in for 11. Nissa can currently give +5/+5 and trample. Temporary lockdown gets rid of, like, tokens and stuff. They could deal 2 damage to Nissa, which is not a big deal. Oh, there's Portal to Phyrexia. Won't they be surprised? Okay. So let's go like Cankerbloom. Well, actually, I guess I don't have to do it immediately. It's at instant speed. There's a cleanup crew. That's nice. And Nissa is just going to make another big guy in the turn. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and destroy their temporary lockdown. Get back my Bankbuster. They can do 2 damage to Nissa, but again, it just doesn't really matter. Right? Nissa has so much loyalty. Alright, they discard a Flesh Gorger, which would be a decent reanimation target. Deal 2 to Nissa, which really doesn't hurt me at all here. So, let's see. I think I'm going to give them a basics test. Let's see, they've got not that much red mana, do they? Oh, they fail the basics test. Fail. Plus. Cleanup crew. Let me get a card out of their graveyard. Portal would be annoying. One with the multiverse would be annoying. Let me just take Portal. Crew up. Come in. Alright, in the turn. What did I say in the intro? Just plussing Nissa, right? Okay, they get this back. Now if they got something big to play with it, could be interesting. Okay, Depopulate's not really that interesting. Alright, and they had nothing better to do there, so... go ahead and make a big token.
Welcome, my companion.
Half the colorless sources. Gotta play this cleanup crew. Destroy target enchantment. Crew up the Bankbuster. Swing in for 4. And it's their turn. Yep, they're all done. We're up against Kid A. Go first. 3 lands. Looks pretty good. Well, 3 lands and a 3-drop on the play. It's not too bad. 3 lands and a 3-drop on the draw might be death. Oh, I got Cankerbloom. Cankerbloom's pretty good. I do have things for it to blow up in this deck. Let's go ahead and come in. Alright. Play the Bankbuster. So, if they're Riveteers, then they've probably got artifact removal for me, other than possibly Cankerbloom. Okay, they're just going to use the Cankerbloom on it. I'm not going to not play my cards, though. Oh, they're running a lot of artifact enchantment removal. Interesting. And they're dead. Okay, up against Carl Pilkington. Keep it. Okay, Swift Spear. Nice to be on the play against red here. Azusas, play some lands, go. Phoenix Chip, sure. Ancestral Anger, alright. Well, play a land. Celestus doesn't quite get me to enough mana to cast the Weatherseed Treaty. It would get me to enough mana to cast Cankerbloom, though. Yeah, I think I'd rather double spell. I'm sure they're just gonna, you know, burn this Cankerbloom out of the way, par for the course, but you gotta give them something to do. Or they get bored. You would never want on a red to get bored. Okay, Likeness of the Seeker. Go ahead and play this Cleanup Crew. Gain 4 life. Say go. Okay, they've got some air attack. Not ideal. Well, never mind. No biggie. I guess here I'm going to take the Cleanup Crew. It's big enough, and life gain is nice. I'll come in with the Likeness. If they took a block, it would be beneficial. Could have played the Weatherseed Treaty. Yeah, they're still not big enough to get through the Cleanup Crew. They might just swing in anyway, just to try to get damage in. Okay. Go ahead and play this forest. I'll play the Cleanup Crew. Gain 4 life. Swing with these two. For 9. Okay, now they're at 8. So now they're in trouble on the crackback. Phoenix Chicks can't block. They have enough attackers to regrow them out of the graveyard. Oh, take action. Let's see. Weatherseed Treaty could give me Trample here, which, I guess I could just win the game. So for that reason, I guess I'll get rid of Bankbuster. And a Tail Swipe. Okay. That should be fine. So, go to Chapter 3. Give you Trample. Yeah, okay. Up against Panda Man 7326. This looks decent. Azusas. Forest. They played a forest. 2 forests. Liberator. Okay, interesting. They can blow up artifacts and enchantments. Well, I'm gonna give you some targets. Because there's a Boseiju reaches Skyward. Okay, they chose not to attack here. There's Cankerbloom. Wolf Strike, huh? I'll proliferate. Now they can actually blow one of these up when they attack, and they can sacrifice it to blow the other one up. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, Trap Breaker's actually pretty good against me right here. Paxon Pup, post combat. Post combat. Could probably have a mountain in their deck, but let's find out. Okay. Blossom Prancer. I mean, Shigeki looks pretty good here. He could return a couple things from the graveyard. Yeah. Okay, so they don't do anything. Well, I could return like a Cankerbloom and a Boseiju at the end of their turn. I could also just ramp, and I think I like ramping here. Getting to this Titan of Industry, and then, you know, Portal to Phyrexia and stuff. It's pretty good. I know they can just attack with a Trap Breaker and blow it up, but it's already done its job. Chapter 1 is its job. So, do you attack? Yes. Yes, you do. Okay. Another land. Titan. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'll actually do the shield counter this time. My life total's not really under much pressure. Okay, he's a biggin. Definitely a biggin. So they've got a couple of tokens they can cast off to this portal to Phyrexia. Okay. No attacks. If Tovolar was in their graveyard, I might consider taking him here, but... So if they attack with him and, you know, double block and just trade away, then I might go ahead and regrow him out of their graveyard, but... Otherwise, I'm going to take things out of my graveyard. Blossom Prancer is going to draw me into big stuff. Yep, cleanup crew. It's a good size. Heh. Okay. So yeah, guess I'll just start playing some cleanup crews here. Yeah, just gain 4. Alright, that's going to give me another Blossom Prancer if they don't blow up this portal. Okay, they blow up the portal. The portal is not legendary, though. I can get it back with Shigeki. And that will be the play. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay, returning 4 things from the graveyard. Portal, a Boseiju, a cleanup crew, and an Azusa's, I think. The other stuff, some of the other stuff the portal can actually get back for me out of the graveyard. Okay. Portal to Phyrexia. Yeah, do your thing. I care not. Oh, you don't want to stick around? See the rest of the game? That's gonna be great fun. Alright, up against Pyre Hand. You'd be amazed how often you get 2 landers with 26 lands in the deck. I think I'll try it anyway. Is this mono red? Maybe. Happy to see that forest. Thermo Alchemist. Okay, this is an unusual build of mono red. Azusa's. Land. Go. Second Thermo Alchemist. Mono. Which does not trigger the Thermo Alchemist. Gain some life. And I think I'll do the Contaminator and keep an instant speed tail swipe open. I mean, I guess I could do it now, but I'd like to see what creature they're gonna play, if any. Flame Channeler. Whenever a spell you control deals damage, transform it. Okay. I don't think I'm going to use the tail swipe right now. They might have, like, play with fire. Okay. So I'm going to do this main phase to give an extra +1 to the Bloated Contaminator. Coming in. Ping me for 2. Okay, maybe they don't have, yeah, maybe they don't have a play with fire here. I think they would have used it, so... Here's Shigeki. That should draw some burn out of them. I mean, if they just want to block her out of the way, they might try to get rid of the likeness. Okay, I'm striking the likeness. No attacks. Alright. Here's a Field of Ruin. We're going to be activating Shigeki. Hopefully that'll get us to the mana to play, you know, Titan and other such things. Come in with a Contaminator. Gotta put pressure on them. Do they have a trick now? Are they just chump blocking? It seems very strange if it's just a chump block. Alright. I think it was just a chump block. Okay, Sulfen's gonna double up the pings from the Thermo Alchemists. Come on back to hand, Shigeki. Let's find a land here. Oh, man, no land? Well, we're that many cards deeper to a land drop. Cleanup crew. Okay, cleanup crew. It's useful. Go ahead and come in. I'll go ahead and play the cleanup crew. I'm going to gain the 4 life here. Sulfen's very explosive. Right, doubling damage is a big deal. I'm going to go ahead and gain the 4 life. Yep, ping for 4. Let's see, let's discard 2 cards to make them indestructible. I imagine they'd like to untap those Thermo Alchemists. They really need something like, oh, you know, exile some cards, keep playing more. Okay, they're going for Light Up the Night to get the 6/6 out of the way. It doubles the damage. Won't be doubling the damage from Sulfen, though. If they had another burn spell, they could probably finish me off here. Alright, well... if they can do something at instant speed, then they've got it. I'm just going to go ahead and attack first, I think. Titan. Yeah, do your pings. Gain 5 Rhino. With Sulfen, this is a really close game. Those Thermo Alchemists? That's scary. Very scary. Not your typical red deck. Might leave this game in just because it's more interesting. I mean, if they get some burn, they've probably got me dead, right? They can get me to 5, and then if they've got 3 damage, that would be enough because it would be 6 damage. If they got it, they got it, and if they don't, they don't. Because I'm about to kill them. Play with fire is not enough. Ooh. Okay, Kimono, that's gonna deal 2. And they can deal another... Oh man, I wish that had been a land. Let me go ahead and draw a card here. See what I can see. Well, Blossom Prancer is useful if I live long enough. I definitely need to pressure their life total here. I've got to get them into some chump blocks. It's the only way to live. 11 of that damage is trampling. They cannot make Sulfum indestructible. You could definitely trade, though. Okay. Okay, blocking the trample there. That should let them live. And they're going to deal a lot of damage to me. And they'll still have a Thermo Alchemist left alive. It's a really close game. Opponent is definitely keeping it interesting. Play out Shigeki. In case of a hasty creature. Shot him at 3. You got me? Did you top deck something? They top decked it. They top decked it, friends. Man, if I had had a land a couple turns ago, they'd be stone dead. That's the way it goes, though. So anyway, that's High Ambitions as I currently have it. Post-combat thoughts on the game. I keep changing the list a little bit here and there all the time. I will say that there's a lot of games where if I draw Nissa, I just win. So it might be good to go up a copy here. Kura was pretty good. I like what Kuro's doing for the most part. Jugan defends the temple. I'm a little bit less certain of this one. It's possible Jugan defends the temple ought to be like another Jewel Thief or another Weatherseed Treaty. You know, just a more traditional ramp piece. It does ramp you, but sometimes the 1/1 doesn't look like the right call on the board. And if you don't get the value out of the +1 counters, then it's not so great. Overall, yeah, I like what the deck's doing. You can season to taste. You can take it in whatever direction you like. I just wanted to give you all kind of a quick heads up on one of the decks that I like to play when I need to play green. It's good enough to compete on the ladder. I hope I've proved that. Anyway, like, subscribe, do the YouTube stuff, and until next time, stay cool.